Today in the Bonsai Zone, I'm going to take an imaginary journey halfway across the world to the island of Socotra. The journey starts here in Ontario, Canada, and I have to travel way over here to Socotra Island. Socotra Island almost looks like an alien landscape with a lot of unusual species of trees. The tree we're going to be focusing on today is the dragon's blood tree. Let's look at some pictures of dragon's blood trees, and then I'll start one of my own here in the Bonsai Zone. The dragon's tree here was on sale at one of the big box stores, so I couldn't resist picking it up. This dragon tree is called a Dracaena bicolor. You can see on the leaves they have a reddish tinge to the edges, giving them that bicolor. I picked this tree because it had the start of a nice root base. The tree already has a woody trunk, and it divides into 4 branches up top. So it's a good start to a dragon tree bonsai. The branches on the dragon tree will just keep growing and growing unless you prune them, and then they'll subdivide into more branches. My goal for this tree is to style it to look like the dragon's blood trees on Socotra Island. To get the umbrella style canopy on my tree, I'll have to prune all the growing tips down to get subdividing further down in the branch structure. I could prune the tree back quite hard and leave no foliage on the branches, but I'll probably go about halfway using some of that structure that's already there. I'm going to vary the height slightly where I do my pruning cuts. There's another one. The cuttings will root. You just have to remove the lower leaves, place them in bonsai soil, and keep them on the dry side. They don't like a lot of water. I'm going to clean up the foliage a bit. I'm going to remove any leaves that are facing inwards. So I want all my leaves fanning out, so the leaves from one trunk don't block the light going to the other trunk. And that looks cleaned up. So all the leaves are fanning out from the center of the tree. If you go online, the seeds from the dragon's blood tree are available to buy, and I'm going to do that this spring. The next step for this tree will be to get it repotted into a training pot. This pot is kind of a strange color. I've never found a tree that matches this pot. One with the color of the pot goes with the color of the tree. Maybe someday I will, I don't know. But for now, it's just a training pot for our dragon tree. I'll get the tree out of the pot now. Move our label. There we go. Lots of roots. This is just your typical nursery soil it's in. It drains quite well. It's nothing wrong with it, but bonsai soil will definitely be better. I'm going to try and sort out the roots on the bottom also. They're quite a tangled mess. You can see where they've been growing around the bottom of the pot just in circles. So those will have to be pruned back. The roots are quite fragile, so you have to be very careful combing them. They will break quite easily. I have all the roots raked out, so you can see they look pretty good. You can see the original trunk of the cutting down below the roots here. There's part of it there. There's another bit here that fell out. That was the trunk that was stuck in the soil, and it grew new roots from this level, and the lower part of the trunk died off. So my next step, I have to pick a root plane. I'm going to try and get the roots as radial as I can to get a nice radial root base on it. So I'll spread them out as much as I can in a radial fashion. Okay, I think I can start pruning the roots now. I'm going to set the tree down on the tabletop and then try and arrange the roots in a radial pattern, untangling them and trying to get the tree to sit as flat as I can on the tabletop. Now there is a big root here that can be pruned away that's stopping it sitting nicely on the tabletop. So I'm going to remove that for starters. So here I go. Just looking to see if there's any more roots growing straight down that I can't comb out in a radial pattern. Maybe this one in here. Like so. Let's try getting it on the tabletop now. Okay, and with it on the tabletop, I'm going to start to prune the outside of the roots here. Just get rid of all the really long ones. So we'll take those away. I think that's about as much root pruning as I can do on the tree. So I'll plant it, and then hopefully I'll get more radial roots growing in this shallower pot. I'll get my window screens cut to fit in the bottom of the pot. Then I'll put down a layer of soil in the bottom. This tree is just starting off its life as a bonsai, but I will try and pick a front for the tree, something that looks nice and the roots look good. I'm thinking maybe somewhere here. You can see all the trunks up here, the 4 trunks. The roots look good from this view, so yeah, I think somewhere about here. I'll place the tree in the pot now. I'm going to put it pretty well on center, maybe offset just a little bit. So I'll arrange all my roots as radially as I can, getting them all to fan out nicely. Looking good there. This one can be brought around a bit. Those ones are looking good. That's going to be about it, I think. So I'll start filling in my soil. The height of the tree looks pretty good in the pot. I've got a bit of trunk flare showing, and the roots are all safely in the soil. So I think it's good. I like the front. Yeah, I'm ready to start filling the pot with soil now. So here I go. I'll hold the tree vertical and start getting the soil around the roots. And I'll work the soil into the roots as I go. I can feel the tree firming up in the pot as I work the soil into the roots. It's quite stable now. I'm getting my spoon now and just leveling the soil. That way I can see where I need to add more. This pot holds quite a bit of soil. Yeah, so I need at least another scoop of soil in here. That should do it. The next step will be to water the tree. I'll start by misting the surface of the soil. Then I'll adjust my nozzle to get more water coming out. and give it a good watering. I think I'll even use my watering can on this one. I can hear the soil sucking up the water. Sounds like Rice Krispies. I'm really excited to get my dragon tree underway as a bonsai. I think it'll be quite interesting following this tree over the years ahead. I've been doing some more painting on my 3D printed person leaning against the tree. I'm always visiting the secondhand stores, and this week I found a part of Stonehenge. This piece is made of cast aluminum, so it should be quite durable to use as part of a penging landscape. Maybe one of my Royal English oaks would look good planted beside this someday. I also found one of the realistic looking elephants for sale at one of the secondhand stores, so I bought that. I have plenty of African trees, so I'll be sure to add the elephant to one of my dioramas in the future. I've designed a display stand for my 3D printed Vietnamese style bonsai pot. So I'm going to start finishing this pot, so I'm going to paint some primer on it, and I'll show you the new design. Here's the design that I came up with, adding legs underneath my pot and a display stand. Here's a rendering of the display base. You can plant anything you want underneath the base. I've added 2 drainage holes here, so you could plant a layer of moss, you could add a layer of turfus or sand, or a mixture of the two to make it look miniature and realistic. I'm going to start the finishing work on this pot by giving it a coat of gray primer. The gray will look like natural concrete, and then I can add all the weathering and staining to give it a real miniature feel to it. I'll start by opening my gray primer can that I just bought today just for this project. There we go. And I'll pick a fairly large brush. I think this size will do. So I'll probably apply, about 4 coats, and I'll sand between coats. And this primer will slowly fill in all the voids and the rough surface from 3D printing. So hopefully it'll look like concrete when it's all done. I've got the first coat of primer on my Vietnamese style bonsai pot, so I'll have to set it aside and let it dry overnight. Then I'll sand it, put another coat on, and so on until it's smooth. I was happy to get my dragon tree underway as a bonsai today and start the finishing work on my Vietnamese style bonsai pot. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me here in the Bonsai Zone.